and welcome to BQF Game Day, the third edition, following Friday's quizzing. Looking forward to tournament quizzing on Saturday. Nate is here in his Twins cap. Austin's here in his sundown shirt, and I'm here in my kitchen. All right, well, it was an exciting day of quizzing. I enjoyed following it. I gave lots of takes that turned out to be incorrect. That's how you know it was a good day of quizzing. My take that Riven might not be the top seed was predictably stupid. Riven, of course, is going to be the top seed. What was I thinking? Again, I asked the right question at the beginning, who will finish second to Riven at this tournament? But I should not have doubted that they would eventually find their way to be the first seed as well. All right, anything that you guys want to say in general about today? I mean, I guess one thing before I turn it over to you guys. Obviously, I think the first, as we've talked about, the first 10 to 12 teams, anywhere in that range, if somebody in that group got hot and made the stage, I wouldn't be floored. I mean, I expect it to be Riven, Moxie, and Revelation as always, but if anybody in that top 12 got hot and, made their way onto the stage, I would be like, oh yeah, okay, it happened. And
Say, looking at the top, let's say top 15 or so, definitely some interesting names there. Oh, just looking at here, we've got, in 12th place, we've got Kingdom, and it looks like, they did take a single third, and that's key, during the round robin, eliminating the third place finishes, and keeping it as first and seconds, that really helps with your bracket point totals. And they were able to do that. And they are sitting in at 12th, and they seem to be a very efficient team. They don't get a ton of errors, it would seem. If you look at the total error counts, their numbers are quite lower than all the teams around them by like 40 or 50 errors. And that's quite a bit when you think of just being 18 quizzes. So I think their ability to control the error issue can really help them finish in that top 15. I mean, they could even make a run here in these tight quizzes if they're able to keep that error count down. So look for them to be maybe up in the top 10, top five, even having a shot in sight one a couple of times with their control with the errors.
Yeah, I think some of the top teams faced each other a little more, and that brought some of the records down and maybe cut a couple teams down to size a little bit. Maybe gave Riven that in to the number one seed there. I think one of the big winners when we were talking about kind of the top 12 teams, I think yesterday, in that group was Messengers from today. They after yesterday seemed to be somewhere in the low double digits, 10, 11, or something like that for bracket points. And I think today they've now moved up to sixth seeding. So that's very impressive. I think they had a good day. And their current record after the round robin is 13-4-1. It's as strong of a finish by them after the round robin as I've seen, recently. So look for them to make it interesting tomorrow.
there is a pretty significant drop in terms of points from 13th to 14th. So your top
Mhm.
13, Dead BC, Kingdom, Zenith, Witness, Fully Armed, CB Squared, Apocalypse, Messengers, Unshadowed, Third Day, Revelation, Moxie, and Riven. They have, beginning at Dead BC, they have a pretty significant leg up, like 900 points on Divine Intervention right there. So that like we said, 12, 13 teams right there are the ones to really be watching and paying attention for if you're talking about final standings and having a chance to make the championship. But of course, if you followed our show at all, you know that we're excited about all the teams from the top to the bottom of the bracket. Great to see rookie teams learning and growing. And then on Saturday, to get the chance to quiz each other, and everybody gets a chance to score points and get some bigger scores. And that's exciting. And then you kind of got our mid majors section, that whole section of like 20s through the lower 30s. There'll be a lot of jockeying back and forth there, a lot of interesting teams. Redemption down at 15th is always interesting. They sometimes will make a run on Saturday, and I noticed some good discipline quizzing from them as well. So yeah, there's all kinds of good quizzes that'll be taking place throughout the day. Just to real briefly mention, the first those first nine teams, those quizzes are always fun. So Riven, Messengers, and Apocalypse at 9:30 tomorrow, Moxie, Unshadowed, and CB Squared also at 9:30, and Revelation third day and Fully Armed at 9:30. Those will be some fun quizzes to start off the day and see how those teams are handling that first look at what this competition is going to be like all day Saturday with these top teams. All those teams are pretty impressive, got a lot of firepower, and we're looking forward to seeing how they handle it.
One team I wanted to point out based on just a quiz that I quiz mastered today was Void. They're, I think, around 22nd right now. And they had what ended up kind of being a one-on-one quiz against Riven. And Riven quizzed a great controlled quiz, ended up with like 420 points or something like that. But Void was winning a lot of jumps, getting them with reads, getting them with words, getting them right. And I don't recall their final score, but it was, like 150, close to 200 points, um, basically in a shootout with Riven. And so that was a fun one to watch. And I would expect them to be a team that if they can do that against a team like that tomorrow, they should be moving up.
All right, well, yeah, it's been fun quizzing to watch all the way around. Now, I know you guys have had a chance to see some quizzers there. Tell me some people to watch out for and what things are looking like. I know we kind of were saying that somewhere around 11 or 12 quizzers all seem to be averaging pretty well to the point where you could expect anywhere from 11 to 12 quizzers to have a shot at top quizzer, and that's pretty exciting. Of course, there are names, of course, that we know the prices of the world. Josiah Price, I know I saw him do a couple well and a couple quizzes real well. And Nathan, what's Nathan's last name?
Nathan Rosen.
Rosen, yeah, I saw some pretty dominant quizzing from him too, some familiar names, and yeah. So, what are some other names to look out for?
I made a list of maybe half a dozen quizzers in the 10 to 20th range, I think, of where they might be placed right now. I don't know. Maybe lower than that, maybe a little bit higher, but these are the people that I might not have expected to be up that high. Or maybe I did, I don't know. But people that might crack the top 14 if they're not already there, or maybe have a shot at the top seven if they're not quite there yet. Um, Drake Buckner from Fully Armed, I think people know what he's capable of. And hasn't always shown it in the past, and he seems to be doing very well this tournament. Sela Mush from CB Squared always has been a high placer, but right now she's the highest scoring quizzer on CB Squared. JT Miller from Messengers. Oh, not the highest. Sorry, I was talking about the 10 to 20. So Emmy Smith, I stand corrected, has a higher score than Sela, but um, they're both right there. JT Miller from Messengers, Aaron Campy from Apocalypse, Noah Sheehan from Third Day, Jack Wickland from Unshadowed. Those are all quizzers who might not be in the running right now if you looked at try to look at stats or something like that. But tomorrow they have an opportunity to maybe get a trophy.
Yeah, the other thing you got to consider too is, the team and the rules we have where we have to have the top seven, their teams have to finish in the top third, and the top 14 have to be in the top two-thirds of the teams um, here this year. So I can't quite calculate that in my head right now as far as what that would be, but somewhere around uh, 15.
Yeah, 15.
Well, yeah, the top 15 teams then probably would need to be in order to make the top seven and top 30. So I definitely see that there's some quizzers here that maybe on one of those middle tier teams that would definitely be in the top 14. I'm not sure if they'd be able to qualify for the top seven, but yeah, there's some quizzers here from these teams. Look at maybe a quizzer like Bryn, you're from Warriors. It's hard to say if their team will finish in the top 15. I mean, very possible that they will, but if they don't, then top 30 would definitely be something that they're able to do. So look for her to be in the top 14 at the very least. Another quizzer would be, Trustin Serig from Messengers. Maybe might not be quite in the top 7, top 14 range at the moment. But being on Messengers, being on a team that's relatively balanced, but I think in the tough quizzes he may be able to come through. I always like to say, maybe trust in, trust in,
Trust in Sarag.
trust in Sarek. Yeah, I mean, and maybe he'll get into a couple quizzes with his brother as quizmaster, and he'll have him down really well. I don't know, maybe it's possible, or maybe Avi will just give him a hard time and just give him an error every time. But no, I think Avi will do a great job, whatever quizmaster, whatever quiz he has with them. So yeah, those are just a couple people I think. I mean, and like Austin was saying, you can't count out anyone on Riven, especially the prices. They could just go through quite a run and quiz out 2, 3, 4 quizzes in a row. And I mean, also if Riven or another top team makes first qualifier, window quiz, wins it, and they're done. That can really save their averages, individually, and that could allow them to finish in a higher individual score at the end of the tournament as far as their average goes. So look for a team that does that to be able to and maybe have a quizzer in the top 7.
Two people that are I believe both second year quizzers, Judah Price and Eden Shep. Um, Judah Price on Riven and Eden Shep on Revelation. Just really impressive by both of them the way they are quizzing, um, based on the teams that they're on and the fact that they're both second year quizzers. Really excited to see not only what they're going to do at the rest of this tournament, but what they're going to do in years going forward.
I had kids screaming. Thank you, Austin. The and there they are screaming again. Kingdom and Void were ones that you guys mentioned. I wanted to throw out there that looking at stats, I would say Dead BC is one to watch as a team that's got some helium that could move up from where they are. Unshadowed, my Alexa now is telling me it's time for bed. Um, anyway, Unshadowed is another one of those that to pay attention to because they've got a lot of firepower. So I would watch out for them. Chosen a little bit further down. Looking at their numbers, they should not be that far down. So I'd expect to see them maybe make a little move on Saturday. And trying to make sure I covered the other teams that I want to make sure. Fervent, probably a little bit of helium there with them as well. And then let me make sure I covered everybody here that I wanted to. Zenith also. I think that
Mhm.
there's some potential there for a certain movement. Here's my bold prediction as we close. I know we're all talking about who's going to do it, who would be able to break up that triumvirate that always makes the championship. My prediction is that it'll be Unshadowed. I think Unshadowed will find their way into the top 3 into the championship. So sorry that I've doomed you, Unshadowed.
Well, I guess.
Okay, where are you predicting?
Oh, well, I mean, I would say Vagabond, but no, let me be more realistic. I don't want to be biased towards my own team that I'm coaching here, but um, I would say looking at the stats here, I think just from what Austin was saying a bit earlier tonight here, and I think we've talked about them a little bit already, but messengers, the fact that they're seemingly, I mean, every year they seem to quiz a very controlled quiz, and there may be a couple of quizzes where they are not quite under control, and maybe it's a matchup with the quiz master that doesn't quite work, and they just don't get any breaks, and that can happen in a tournament like this. But I think this year they may be able to overcome that, and that's my bold prediction for making the championship this year instead of one of the triumvirate that we were talking about.
Right. I think we've talked on the other shows about Third Day, and they deserve a mention when we're talking about contenders for stage right now. They've had an excellent round robin. Maybe not as excellent today as yesterday, but they're still up there, and doing very well, scoring a lot of points, beating good teams. And I don't really want to call them a dark horse, but I think they've exceeded expectations so far in the tournament. They have a lot of firepower, and Quincy, like you said, can they keep the errors down on Saturday, is what you said yesterday. I think that's still the question. But they have a lot of firepower. And so are they going to be in a quiz where you just got to win jumps and maybe you depend on some lucky breaks for choices if they're not able to control the errors. You can win with controlling errors, or maybe you win by just having that firepower. Hard to say that you do that against Riven and maybe the first window, but once another team is qualified like Riven, maybe they're the team, end up being the team to beat in a window quiz.
Nice. Yeah, and to go along with that, with mentioning third day, I just want to make sure, we shout out Kingdom and Third Day. Also that Witness Fully Armed, which is also from Family Life, and CB Squared as kind of those teams from a little bit smaller ministries. Those are all great teams that could do some exciting things. So pay attention to their quizzes, look for those underdogs if you like to root for underdogs, and we'll see some fun stuff. All right, guys. Well, I can't wait to fall tomorrow. Praying for everyone to have a great day, praying for everyone's nerves to be relaxed for those quizzers and for them to perform to the best of their abilities and feel great about all the work they put into learning the longest book in the New Testament, and certainly a gospel that has brought so much life to me in so many ways. I'm proud of everybody for all their hard work and all of you adults for all your work in helping them. So thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Signing up.